Welcome to another day trading video from Verifort Trading Group. Today we are in the Russell E-mini TF using our long-term charts of 1500T, 550T, and 133T. As far as our strategies that we will be trading this morning, we will be looking for trend trades, counter trend trades, and reversals. Our money management says we will be trading one contract. We might scale in with better entries, and we will use a 15-tick profit stop as well as a 10-tick stop loss. And when prices get to +7, or when we're in the trade at +7, we're going to move our stop up to +1, and we will continue to manage actively our stop losses. Okay, so this morning we got a very good jobs number, and as we can see, prices spiked up pretty dramatically in pre-market, and the squeeze on the long-term chart shows that, but we are getting a little bit of toppiness out of our histogram. But as we can see on our 550, we've already gone sideways. We're looking like it wanted to go down to a big counter, and we look at the performance of the histogram on the medium-term chart, and it is pretty dramatic to the downside, signaling at least a attempt to fill the gap. And the Holy Grail is way above the upper channel, telling us that this was a really strong trend. Okay, the bell's about to ring here in a minute, and we'll see how this, if there's any opportunities. And as we can see also on we're seeing a new high a day, or we're right at a high a day with prices. Okay, so we are expecting a pop-up in the morning, but this here suggests that there might be a possibility for a fill the gap counter. At this point, it's just too early to say. We don't have we're starting to see a red bar here on the short-term chart, but again in the morning, first 5 minutes, it's kind of funky. We might maybe go for a little scalp here to the upside as prices originally, if they pop up, but we'll see. Okay, so we get our first yellow bar, not surprisingly, as we hit some resistance in our to-the-tick support zone. Okay, we got some turnover underneath the fast-moving average. We are getting lower highs on the short-term chart. So right now things are setting up for a counter trend trade. And you can see here's our counter trend trigger on the medium-term chart where we started to get lower highs. We went to dark green, red, green, and a dot, and then we continue getting lower highs. Keep saying that this morning. And this is definitely forming up to be a possible reversal here. But we'll see. The jobs news today was pretty significant, very strong, but also the market's been running quite a bit the last few weeks, so we could see some Friday profit taking. Okay, we may be looking for a short here, but we've already got a double top at this previous swing low. And when we blow this up, we see quite a ways to go down there, and there's really no other previous swing low that we can take advantage of. Okay, so we may let's see. Okay, we broke this congestion area here, so we're gonna place it right at 236.5. See if we get filled here.
Order filled.
Okay, so what we are playing right now is, okay, so what we're trying, we have gotten filled, and we're looking to get bottom here, at least a swing low, get a small scalp going here. Okay, we're up two ticks on this. Back to flat. So again, big picture, we're definitely showing a counter, a beginning of a counter, which is what turns into a reversal. Market opened up pretty significantly this morning. Okay, we're in the money on this trade. We're going to tighten our stop to +3. Oops, too slow. So we were up 5 ticks on that trade, only for it to reverse and bounce off the bottom. So this is when we talk about being mechanically ready to trade. I kind of glanced over the TV to check something, and the price just whipped right on by me. Okay, so we'll see if that comes back down to us, or if we get taken out on the first day, first trade. Okay, it's coming back down. Again, our entry is 231. I'm sorry, 823.1. Okay, we're just about to break even. Okay, again, the entry that we used here was we had a previous consolidation period, so we entered with a market order when we broke under that price, and we were trying to get down to here, which eventually we did. I just wasn't fast enough, and we didn't hit our target number in our template, and we bounced pretty high. And right now we're down 2 ticks on this trade. Big picture, we're still showing some continued downside, 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 downside. So right now the powers that be are really fighting each other here, as a bunch of people tried to jump on a bandwagon this morning, and the market's making them pay for it because it's really not filling the gap at this point. There was a little bit of pullback. The market right now, the Dow's at 111. So this is what I talk about using time stops for. I mean, right now this thing could be in this little, it seems like it's in this little 7 tick range, and it just doesn't want to move, and it probably won't start to move here for a few minutes. So we're basically not doing anything. At this point, I could opt out for a 2 tick loss and just look for a better entry. But I'm just going to give this a little bit of time here to at least get a couple ticks on our first trade. Okay, we're up +1, +2. I'm thinking this is going to go down to at least a swing low, but let's keep an eye on it. I think as soon as we get the +3, I might pull my stop down to +1 just to start the day on a positive trade. Okay, we're back up. We're back down 2 ticks. Just seems like it wants to play in this range. We have to be careful. We got our stops on, folks. These are the days where this thing will play around, kind of bounce around. I mean, we can see we're forming a channel here, and it's consolidating. And once this makes up its mind, I've seen some velocity, because right now you got a lot of people shorting this market. Okay, I mean a lot of people. And all it takes is somebody to step in and say, you know, we're going long. Okay, we're in the money here. I'm at +2 on my stop. Probably get taken out there. Prices just don't want to move. Okay, but what I was going to say is, if prices do break up to the outside here, they would run pretty hard.
Stop filled.
Okay, we got stopped out, and for a very small a very small 20 or 2 tick win. Okay, we'll be right back in a minute. Okay, hello, welcome back. So not much has changed since we left. We're still in this little range. Nothing is really changing at this point, other than we still have a consolidation on our long-term chart. It's not telling us a whole heck of a lot. Trying to draw a line here. I mean, we really want to break down here, which just by knowing where prices are would definitely give us some confirmation on a squeeze with higher low red bars on the long term. we still continue to get a really strong divergence on our midterm chart. And we are starting to see the bias line hit towards the upper channel line on our Holy Grail. But our 133, we're at this point, we really are looking for downside, really because of this. Is just not participating very much. I mean, it's pretty much hugging the bias line. You see it threading. Although we do have, we some breakage down here. So, we're going to go ahead and place an order right under 822.6 and see if we can. Oops, having problems putting my prices in.
Order pending.
So we're going to go one tick underneath and see if we can get some downside. This will be a counter trend trade. We have more than enough space between the moving average and the prices. Love to see this histogram continue down and get underneath the bias line. Love to see the bias line also break down and get underneath the channel. The cycle line is already there for us, but it's almost the cycle and the trend line on the Holy Grail is almost there for us. As a matter of fact, it's getting ready to go back underneath the lower channel line. So not much going on here. So these are the areas where you could just get killed, or the moments, because you're trying to force trades. There's really nothing there. You can look at the chart afterwards and say, yeah, I would have shorted here and got out here, and then I'd buy back here and ride this all the way up. But look at the squeeze on the 133. It's just all over the place. There's nothing going on. There's nothing going on here other than saying we're to the downside. We are playing off a reversal yellow bar. Now, if we do break up to the upside, don't be surprised. For us to go to the upside, there's two things we want to see. Number one, we want to see a break out of this consolidation to the upside. We do want to see us at least get to 824 with a breakout or breakthrough of the swing high. But we want to see some green action here. We're starting to see the white line on the Holy Grail on our cycle line telling us that there might be a possibility that we're going to start going back up here. Okay, we had a big opening, so right now we're playing a counter trend trade. We've made one trade this morning for $20, so so we're up $20. Very impressive. Okay, nothing going on. Okay, we're going to step away and come back if we see something forming. Okay, we're back. We're seeing prices trying to get back down. You see, we're almost breaking through that consolidation we talked about. We have another red histogram with a lower high. Okay, we just got filled, and you can see it's right at that breakout here of this consolidation we're talking about. We do get some nice action, confirmation action to the downside, and we're still making lower highs. So we just want to see this deteriorate a little bit and get us in the positive here, our second trade of the morning. But really not a heck of a lot. Okay, in terms of what are we possibly playing for? We want to see prices get down here. So it's about a two and a half, excuse me, 2.5 points on the TF if we get down to our moving averages. Okay, price is coming back up on us a little bit. We're down one tick on this trade thus far. We're going to leave our stops right where they are. Not a heck of a lot going on, folks. Last year at this time, if the market opened up 100 points, we'd be having all sorts of opportunities presented to us by paint bar factories. Today, absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. We do have a headline report coming out at 9 o'clock, so it might have been maybe a little bit more or made a little bit more sense to wait till 9 o'clock. If we get taken out here for a full stop, I think we're going to just come back and.
Stop filled.
Okay, we did get stopped for a full 10 ticks. So at this point, we're down $80 on the day. And I think what we're going to do is wait to come back at 9 o'clock after we get some news going on. Typically, what we'll see is prices will run up into the news or the headlines. So we might even come back a little early and see if we can get if the charts confirm what we normally see. We'll get into an upside trade. So we'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, we are back, and we can see prices have gone back down. Now, one thing I really want to point out here, hopefully you see just in the my moderation, I got out of that loss. Didn't really mention anything. It just said we're stopped out at 10 ticks. We're now our P&L is at minus 80. We lost. I get on to the next trade. I look at the next thing. This thing right now, here's what people do. If we would have been in this trade, we would be up right now $50. And if it goes back down and makes a big run, we'll look to re-enter. I'm not going to sit here and crying my milk, as they say. Oh, if I would have stayed in, I would have made this. That's just not reality. We got out we walked out of the opportunity. It's not there. So here's a case where I could say, oh, we would have been right. We'd be up, almost a point right now. I just don't look at it that way. Okay. But we are going to look for a re-entry to the short side. Everything still says downward. We just took an early entry. Okay. So, and we were wrong. So, here, this is what we were looking for. We were looking for a breakdown. We're getting lower highs. We got a red dot on the bias line. This thing is never even challenged to say, hey, we're going back to the upside. Our squeeze is still heading downward. Nothing's ever reversed here. We did break out of that zone, as we talked about, and even more importantly, we can see that we are making lower highs. But this guy just does not want to break down the 133, even though it's staying underneath the histogram, staying underneath the bias line. It just does not want to break down. So at this point, the fact that we're down $80, we're going to wait to get a little bit better confirmation of what's going on here. I would not be surprised if we do actually get down somewhere near here and then just take a bounce back up. Because in the grand scheme of things, if we look at this, folks, big picture, effective chart reading, what is this? You can make an argument that this formation is a pennant. Now there's way too many bars here, but that's kind of things I look for. Okay, we're starting to see a little bit of a turnaround here. I'm getting a yellow bar. Yellow bar is huge for me on the 550. Once we've gone down and touched a little bit, we see our cycle line starting to head back up on the Holy Grail. We might even have a trade up here. We're above the histogram. I would just really want to see something green. If I see something green here, I'm going to look to get in a market order above these previous swing highs. Okay, but I really need to see something green between these two charts. Am I going against the 1500? Yeah, but I'm playing this right here, this candlestick formation, but also, any break above this. If we start to see another yellow bar or blue bar, if we start to see this turn any color, it will be a great participation on a long-term chart. But at this point, I'm in scalping mode. We have a lot of members that say they get impatient, they just start pushing buttons. Hopefully you're learning from this that I'm not pushing buttons. I took a trade based on criteria back over here that said if we break under here, because this was red, this was red, this was red, this was red, everything was telling me to short. I followed my rules. I took a short. Didn't work out. Protected against the thing really whipping up to the upside. Took my 10 tick loss, and here we are. So we are almost 21 minutes into the open, and we're down $80. on 2 trades. And by the way, the Dow's up 120, so this thing is just really not doing a whole heck of a lot this morning. Okay, so once again, we'll step away and we'll come back if something materializes. Okay, we are back. Didn't take too much of a break because I see this yellow bar. This is really telling me a lot that the prices really want to get going here. Oh, might have I got a text here saying, why are you using the iTunnel today? I'm just getting more and more people asking me about the iTunnel. One great way to know when to trade, guys, is when prices are inside the iTunnel. Just stay away. Okay, here we go. This is what I talked about. We're getting a green dot, a very small histogram. I'm going to go ahead and look to possibly get in 823.6 on
Order pending.
at least, well, we put in a new high, a new swing high. So technically we could use an entry order here, but I don't like that we're making higher lows in prices. But this is strong. This is strong. Um, this is still, we're still fighting this. Okay, but I want some further confirmation of 823.6 to the upside. And in terms of, whoops, didn't mean to do that. In terms of, here's a challenge we face. We had previous resistance at 823.8 and 823.9, but we would look to at least get up to 824.8 for a risk reward. So once again, we find ourselves just waiting for a trade to materialize. The only thing that's having any action today is the 133, but look at this garbage. I mean, so far myself, I won 2 ticks on the first trade, lost 10 ticks on the second trade, and we find ourselves at a -8 tick P&L right now. Okay, so we really want to close. We really want to start closing above the fast-moving average on the 133. We want to close above that new swing high, but prices are just chopping around here, not doing a darn thing. Okay, just picking up a text from my man Mike, who's pointed out to me that I've been talking about going long, but I'm actually have a long, or I'm sorry, a sell order in. So thank you, Mike, for pointing that out. I think after a while here, I'm going to have to start paying you guys. Okay, but let's make sure we understand why we're going long here. Okay. First of all, we talk about this pennant. So we've kind of broken through that already. We've got our green dot, which is an indication that we might be turning back over. We're getting our higher highs in green on our squeeze. We'll zoom in here to see that on our Holy Grail 550, we're starting to turn over from oversold as our cycle and signal lines are crossing or getting to the midpoint. And most importantly, we're seeing a yellow bar up in the price of the 550, and that's just a a pretty big deal. Because what we want to see is a breakout of this consolidation that's going on in here. Now here's something that's very key to note when we talk about placing limit orders ahead of time. So if we look at the price here, this breakout consolidation is right at 823.7, which just happens to be 1 or 2 points above the swing high that we're looking for. So this gives us more than ample time to put our swing, our limit order 1 tick above the swing high. So again, little forward thinking. If we know that this is the area we want to break out of, it's right at 823.7, and the closest we get to a swing high is 823.6. Okay, so right now everything's still looking pretty good. You can see here we've broken out further above the flag or the pennant. We got a yellow bar on the 550. We got a couple. We're starting to see green. 133 is definitely showing some strength to the upside. So we're just going to let this play out for us here. See if we get filled. Okay, because right now everything is still kind of pointing up into the right, as they say. Okay, so big. Okay, we just got filled. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and place our additional 2 contracts to see if we could scale in with some better prices. As per our money management, it did say we were going to try and scale in with 3 contracts. So we're at 1 contract right now. We're up 2 ticks. See if it comes back and gets us in. Okay, we just got filled on the second contract. Here's another strong sign of the uptrend. We have our bias line and our LT trend line starting to turn positive on the Holy Grail 550. We are starting to get a blue bar painting above our yellow bar on the 550. And we almost broke through consolidation over here on our long-term chart. Okay, now here's the gig. We have consumer confidence coming out in a few minutes. And I know we don't like to trade during news or headlines. And I'm not going to do anything crazy here, but what I am going to do is what's really called an aggressive entry. I'm going to tighten up my stops once I get filled. And here's just 2 observations that comes with doing this for a long time, folks. Typically, when there's big news coming out, the people that are short don't like to hold into that news, so they'll get out. They'll kind of squeeze themselves out, which gives us a little jump before the actual headlines comes out. Secondly, from a discretionary application, we've been having some really good economic data the last couple weeks. So consumer confidence should, if not hit expectations, possibly exceeded. That isn't a bias that I'm forming. I'm just thinking that might happen. So I'm using my indicators to tell me if it validates that thought. And right now, because it's going up, the news isn't out, but I'm reading what my indicators are telling me that it's probably the prices look to go up, but I'm factoring in some discretionary fundamental information. Okay, so we are looking good on the 550, both from a squeeze and a Holy Grail. Looking good in prices as we're above the consolidation, and we're just about getting there on the long-term chart. Okay, if it does pop, we could see a big run with the TF. It can move as much as 3 to 5 points. So I'm just going to kind of extend this a little bit. See if maybe we can take advantage of a big pop. And again, so once we get filled here, we're going to tighten up these stops because I want to mitigate as much as possible on taking a full stop with 3 contracts. Okay, we just got filled. We're at 3 contracts. We're down 2 ticks right now. See what happens here. So as I mentioned, we're going to tighten up our stops. No big deal here. If this moves against us, we'll be down a little bit more. But okay, looks like good jobs number. Definitely good jobs number. So we are out. All of our profit stops were hit, and looks like our gross profit is 490. So while the news gets digested here, let's kind of do a quick recap. Markets opened up a lot higher. They gapped up on good jobs numbers and just went into a sideways stall for quite a while. But our long-term chart histogram as well as the histogram and squeeze on the 550 all said there was counter trend opportunities. So we followed our technicators and we made 2 ticks at $20 on the first short. We got stopped out for $100 on the second one, which gave us a P&L of $80. However, then we started to see things turn around a little bit as we were coming out of a pennant formation on our long-term chart. We're starting to get green dots on the histogram on the long-term chart. The 133 histogram turned over on the upside of the bias line, and then as soon as we started to see the histograms go green on the 550, as well as our our holy grail on the 550 go positive, we started to form upside bias. Factored in a little bit of fundamental data, and with using tight stops, we were able to hit some positive news. We hit all of our profit stops and ended up on the day at $490 gross, or somewhere around 470 net. Good trading.